Well, hi everybody. Today I am here with the pantropical jumper or the Plexippus peculi, and today we'll be deciding if he will make a great pet for you guys. If you see, this specimen specifically has 6 legs, but a spider generally has 8, and that's because that's how he was, and that's why I took him in. I already had 2 of the same species, so I didn't want any more of those, but he seemed like he was starving and he had only 6 legs and he was having a hard time, so I took him in, and now here he is. So, speaking about legs, I have a question for you which will determine how much knowledge do you have about spiders in general. So the question is, do spiders regrow their legs throughout their lives if they break one? And the answer is yes, they do. But it takes them a few molds. Molting is the time when they remove their exoskeleton and just grow, and it may take them a few molds to get their origin. It may take them a few molds to regrow the leg completely like it was before. And speaking about molds, I have something really great to show you. And this is it. This is a full exoskeleton, and this is how they molt, and this is the full exoskeleton of a Plexippus peculi or the pantropical jumper. It has all 8 legs and the eyelid things. How cool is that? Keeping a pantropical jumper or any jumping spider for that matter is really rewarding. They look at you and stare back at you with those big wide eyes, which is really adorable, and which is really adorable. Also, these guys are very curious and very active, which makes them one of the best pet spider you could possibly have. But the question is, will this spider suit your lifestyle and will this be the best pet for you? And for seeing that, we'll be judging the jumping spider on our criterias, which includes housing, handleability, care and maintenance, cost, which includes the upfront cost and the initial cost of the spider, and we are also going to talk about it, and we are also going to judge him based on his hardiness. But before we judge the spider, I have another great question for you, which will certainly increase your knowledge if you didn't answer the first question correctly. And for this question, I want you to draw a spider. Don't go into the details, just draw a basic spider. Just draw a basic spider. And if you have drawn something like this rather than this, then you are correct. A spider's body is divided into 2 parts. The upper part, which houses its eyes and its mouth, known as the cephalothorax, and the lower part, which is called the abdomen. And all the 8 legs of the spider emerge out from the cephalothorax and not from the abdomen. So let's start judging the spider based on our first criteria, which is housing. For housing, as you can see, it is pretty comfortable and affordable housing. You only need a small jar which is about 17 centimeters tall. Be sure to give them a vertical space rather than a horizontal, because these guys are arboreal and they love climbing. They love enclosure which is vertical rather than horizontal. And this is and I will be putting the dimensions of this enclosure somewhere over here around the screen. And also, well, there is no bare minimum for the size of enclosure that's needed, but I do prefer something like this, which is 17 centimeters long at least, because I have another spider which is of the same species in this enclosure, which is just a couple centimeters short in the height, but he usually tries to escape, and he before moving into this enclosure, he used to live in this enclosure, and at that time he did not try to escape. But since he is in this smaller enclosure, which is just a couple centimeters shorter, he is trying to escape. So I'm going to upgrade him soon. But I think this is the bare minimum, and this is what you should go for at least, because these are active spiders and they will use up any space that you will give them. Talking about cohabitating multiple spiders, don't do that, because these guys can be cannibalistic, and don't even try breeding them if you aren't experienced and trained to do so, because Spiders are cannibalistic, and many a times you will end up losing your male if you try breeding them, because um, spiders female spiders only need the male gamete, which is the sperms, for producing egg sac, and after she receives them, her job is done. The job of the male is done for her, and hence she would not sacrifice a great treat, and she will try to catch him and eat him. Many spiders exhibit such behavior, but I don't know why. For some reason, Black Widow is the only spider that's infamous for doing so, but other spiders also exhibit such behaviors, and it's not uncommon in spiders. And for enrichment purpose, you can add a couple of wood branches for him to climb around, and that should do the job, and he will be happy in his enclosure. Speaking about care and maintenance, it is also very easy with these spiders. All you need to do is feed your spiders regularly, maybe crickets or dubia roaches will do, and if you have a couple of flies, you can also feed them to this. I really love feeding mosquitoes to my spider because I love how they jump and attack their prey while it is flying, which is really truly amazing and rewarding experience. Also, all you need to do is keep a small substrate layer which will hold in some moisture, because these guys require moisture. I don't prefer using a mesh on top because that will allow all the moisture to evaporate, which is not what we want when we keep these guys. We want to trap some humidity so that it helps with when they are molting and shedding their exoskeleton. These guys do not require any special sort of lighting, maybe UVB or any heat bulb, as many reptiles do. Hence, these are fairly easy and cheap to care for. But I do recommend keeping them near a window where there is no direct sunlight, but the room is well lit, so that they do experience the day and night cycle as they would in wild. Feed them depending upon the size of the abdomen. Once you observe your spider for a few days, the spider's abdomen shrinks when they are starving and kind of bloats up when they are full. So you will get a hang on it. So you will know it after a few days of observing your spider. Talking about handleability, these guys are the best. As comparing that they are spiders, and spiders are not very handleable species of and spiders are not very handleable animals to keep, but these are very handleable. Their venom does not harms their venom does not harms any humans. Their fangs are not even strong to pierce through your this skin, but if you keep them here, it can pierce through. And they are active animals, and as long as you don't squish them, there is nothing that can go wrong. Also, be sure that they are fast and they jump as their name suggests, and they could get away. So I recommend having a table which is clear like this while handling those. If you have a scattered table with a lot of mess, they will get into everything and all the little places where you can't get them. But after a few days, they might show up on your wall again. Speaking about availability, you may get a lot of wild caught specimens, but captive bred specimens are much rarer when it comes to jumping spider. In the reptile keeping community, wild caught word is pretty frowned upon when it comes to animals, but in the spider keeping community, it's a whole different thing. Um, Now here I have a Plexippus paiculi, which is the pantropical jumper, and it is found in Asia. But you can find, if you are living in America, you may find bold jumping spider or regal jumping spider, as they are more common over there. So there are over 6,000 known species of jumping spiders, and I'm pretty sure you will get at least one in your area. Nowadays, there are more captive bred specimens available, so if you do a bit of research and try finding them, I'm sure you will find one. Talking about the cost of keeping the spider, that is just nil or zero, as you can see. Um, you may need to purchase a few feeder insects for them, but they are really cheap, and there is there are not a lot of expenses when it comes to the spider, and that's the truth. Speaking about our last point, which is hardiness, These guys are one of the most hardiest spiders you can keep. They won't die because they do survive without food for a couple of days. They do need a proper humidity, which is one of the most important thing when it comes to caring of these guys. But they are pretty strong and tough, and they will tolerate some negligence to some extent. And while handling them, just be sure that you are not squishing them, and your spider may live a lot long. The lifespan of the jumping spiders are unclear because there are a lot of internet sources. One of them claim they live up to 1 year only, while others claim they live for 6 months to 3 years. And I don't know how, and I don't rely on these sources because there are over 6,000 species of jumping spider, and they have not mentioned which spider they are talking about specifically. So I'm having this for over 3 months and they are doing well, and I will be seeing how long they do live. So you may see the lifespan according to me in any future videos. So that's it for this week's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new, and I hope that you have decided if this guy will make the best pet for you. Thank you guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see the future videos, subscribe and like this video. Thank you guys.